Good morning. Happy Thursday. Today we're going to take you to the beautiful, whoops, dropped the old camera. We're going to take you to beautiful Oxtanka. And there's a sign for Oxtanka. We're out here, Oxtanka is out here by the monastery, which is up here on the hilltop. There's the monastery. Over to the right, is the ocean, Caribbean. So they built this city next to the Caribbean. Since I'm thinking about something, about things being built next to the Caribbean, Tulum, near Cancun, of course it's about 2 hours from Cancun south, but Tulum was also built, it was a city built on the Caribbean. So when the Spanish invaded and conquered Tulum and started conquering all the Mayan cities, Tulum was still inhabited up to 500 years ago when that started going on. So Tulum was still inhabited by the Mayans, and a lot of the ancient cities that we're looking at were most likely inhabited 500 years ago. So fairly recent, if you look at time-wise. And yeah, so that's what I find. That's kind of interesting, that most of these cities we're looking at, they were inhabited up to 500 years ago. But after they were conquered by the Spanish, then they weren't inhabited anymore, I guess. As far as location goes, right now, Chetumal is right on the border of Belize. It's right on the border, and if you look at a map, actually part of the city of Chetumal on the other side of the city is Belize, B-E-L-I-Z-E, and that country is separate from Mexico. So I'm right on the border of Belize right now, and which has a lot of rules concerning different aspects of disease and stuff. So it's a country that I would have gone to, but I'm avoiding it because I don't go to countries that try and enforce their will upon others. So Belize does try and enforce their will upon others. It's run by some very wealthy people, and they make you stay in their hotels if you go. They actually, when you go across the border, you have to tell them which of the 3 hotels, luxury hotels, you're going to stay in, and you have to stay in those particular hotels that you choose because they're owned by the people that run Belize. So anyway, I'm not saying that that's good or bad. If you want to go to Belize and you're a millionaire, then I'm sure that's fine. But I don't go to countries where they push me into doing their will for them to make a profit off of me. I go where I want to go. So anyway, that's me. Doesn't have to be you, but that's me. To the right is, what are they? Goats. Look, there's goats. A whole herd of goats. This area here is, I've noticed all the expensive mansions here, and there's a lot of wealthy people right here. So, which means to me I have to be very careful in this area because it can be dangerous for me. So here I am on the road to Oxtanka. It's a dirt road, and it's in the middle of where? The jungle, of course. It's in the middle of the jungle. Wow. just see a big truck. It looked like, oh boy, excuse me, a lot of bumps on this road. I didn't see a big truck with big push bars on front of it. Now these areas with all the wealthy people, they must be very careful because some of them, not all of them, but some of them don't make their money in an honest fashion. And those particular people will hurt you. So, that being said, God is my protector, and I'm not afraid of anybody, to be quite honest. What's the worst they can do? Kill you, right? If that's the worst they can do, hey, I could care less. I know where I'm going. Be with my precious Lord. Of course, these particular sites that are in the middle of nowhere and isolated are kind of see, we're going into the middle of nowhere. There's a guy riding his bicycle here. I gotta be careful. So this is the road we came on right here. Oops. There. And here is a sign for the site Oxtanka Zona Arqueologico. So I did find it, yay. And then you can see we're in the area to buy the boletos, the tickets. So here we are, here's the map of Oxtanka. We got some really vicious dogs here. Not that I'm afraid of dogs because I have a cane, but like usual, you can see the pathway. We have a nice beautiful pathway that we're going to walk on for a minute. We have Bees Plaza, Columns Plaza, and Spanish Chapel. This tree is muy interesante, very interesting. Looks like a banyan tree where, where the branches and the limbs go down into the ground and sprout roots. Yeah, it's like a banyan tree. That's what they do. Wow. We're going through the jungle. And yes, there are jaguars here. There are. I've seen many signs on the highway for jaguars and where they cross. So, yeah, that part of the culture is still here. Jaguars. Also, you know, in these forests and jungles, they have many things. They got orange trees, they got coconut trees, they got bees, beehives, where they gather honey. They got many things to support life in these jungles. We're right next to the Caribbean. So here's another sign that tells us which way to go for these different buildings. So we're coming up to the first structure now. You'll see it in the distance. It's right there. So much forest around here, so much. I mean, it's like wall-to-wall trees. It's a beautiful area. And you can see there's another structure over there. And we're going to this ruins over here. Here's the first structure with arches. An arched doorway. So there's an arched doorway, and you can see how big this arch is. In the distance, I see a lot of walls around these trees, and I see a pyramid or a platform of some type over here. And this looks like, sort of like a church. There's an altar, it looks like, right here. So it's right here. So, looks like they worship something. Whenever people see these altars and these platforms and everything, they always assume, for some odd reason, that these people sacrificed everybody, which probably isn't the case. But, of course, you got to make them out to be savages, don't we? But I doubt that they actually were. This could be a lot of things. This could be like an altar of some sorts. It could also be a grave, like it could be like a king's grave or something, where they, they put it maybe inside. If they open this up and looked inside, maybe they'll find a grave under there. Maybe this is a mausoleum. It's hard to say, and I guess we'll never know. But I try not to think that there was a society of people who would sacrifice all these people, young virgins and soccer stars and things like that. I try not to think that any culture could be that backwards. Well, of course, if you look at our culture, they're sacrificing people every day in America and Canada and everywhere else. Everyone's being sacrificed. So is this culture any worse than our culture in today's society? I don't think so. Our culture sacrifices people on a daily basis in so many ways. I really don't think that this culture in today's world as it is very much appreciated by God. As we can see all the natural disasters going on right now, I don't think he's approving of all these simpletons stealing it from everybody, making people sick, and taking their money by selling them the cure. Here's this pyramid we were looking at before. Should I walk on it? Of course we shall. This is an interesting kind of architecture here. Then you got to ask yourself, the people who came here and rebuilt the crumbling structures, which are probably 10,000 years old or more. See, I'm on top of it now. You're wondering, if they had anything to do with the way that they were rebuilt. And remember, all these structures had plaster on the outside so that you wouldn't be able to see these rocks. Now I'm climbing on a bunch of rocks, but back in their day, all these structures were finished with plaster on them and probably ornate murals and things of that nature. So we're just seeing the remnants of a great society. I'm on top of the temple, the templo, looking down from the temple, the templo. I see a lot of steep. There's a rock here. Must have been where the statue was. And remember, these structures are all hollow. Every one of them is hollow. And I'm sure back in the day, there was full of reverence for this building. Here's my friend, an iguana. Hello. Hello. There's an iguana, big one. There's a really pretty iguana climbing up this tree. See it? Climbing up the tree. That's a beauty. He's trying to talk to me. Yeah, I see him moving his head. Wait, oh, there he is, okay. See him moving his head up and down? He's trying to communicate. That's cool. Let's go have a chat with him. Oh, you're a beauty, aren't you? You're a beautiful one, aren't you? Oh, wow, look how big you are. Don't be shy. There's a bunch of walls here, big walls. And there's like a gateway right here. Then some more walls. Place is walled in. More structures. And I'll tell you, you know what I'm thinking about those mats? I'm going to ask him when we go back, but those mats are probably like, well, I don't know, but yeah, they definitely steal your electricity, your energy from your body. There's no doubt about that. But I was thinking that coming into these sites that, I mean, they're in Walmarts, they're everywhere. These mats with wet towels. I have to ask the guy what it's for. I'm going to ask him, see what kind of crazy answer he gives me. This is Plaza Columnas, Columns Plaza. Structure 6, 9, and 10. 6, 9, and 10. What happened to 7, 8? They're no longer there, but 6, 8, and 10 are there. You can hear it just started raining like a monsoon rain just now. You can hear the rain hitting the canopy of the trees. That's really coming down. Of course I didn't bring my umbrella, although I have one, but I didn't bring it. So here's one of the structures. Another. Some more. They're virtually surrounding this area. And it's really raining now. Amazing. Inside the pyramid, it's a skeleton. It's a skeleton. I'm going to take a better view of it in a minute. We found the vault for storing all the gold. There's a skeleton. There's a skeleton here. Another skeleton. Right there. It's huge, with probably a mile square area with all these ceremony buildings. They're downtown, a mile square. You can see, big spread out area. This pathway, I don't know. I seriously wonder if it was actually here when they built the city. Of course, roads were built by the Mayans and the Aztecs and so on, but they did build roads, so it's very possible they built this. Only way to know for sure is what did they find when they came here 500 years ago. Thriving city, I'm sure, with people living in it. See the rain if you can see it. Let's see. Yeah, now you can see it. See it? The rain. It's really coming down. Just pouring down like a shower. Remind me of the time I was in India in the monsoons. But those rains were hundreds of times more powerful than this one. Ay,